You pictured your kids being best friends, not tiny lawyers arguing over who got the bigger half of the cookie. But somehow, you've become the exhausted referee in a never-ending sibling UFC match. And it's only Tuesday. What most parents don't realize is it's not really about the toy or who sat in the front seat. It's about survival. To your kids, love feels limited. So, if their sibling is winning your attention, they feel like they're losing you. That's why battles erupt the moment you answer a work call, sit down to pee, or blink longer than 3 seconds. Understanding what's really happening. Before we can fix sibling rivalry, we need to understand what's actually driving it. They're fighting because they're competing for the most valuable resource in the universe, your attention and approval. From your child's perspective, love feels finite. If you're proud of their brother's soccer skills, maybe you love him more. If their sister gets help with homework, that must mean she's the favorite. It's not drama, it's evolution. To a kid, a 5-second hug for their sibling feels like the emotional equivalent of being voted off the island. This is why sibling fights often escalate when you're busy. The child who causes the biggest explosion wins the prize of your immediate attention, even if that attention is negative. Even if it's just you yelling, "Can you both stop before I move to a different planet?" But once you understand this, everything shifts. Sibling conflict isn't random. It's a message. They're telling you, I need to feel seen. I need to feel secure. I need to know I matter. Stop being the judge. The biggest mistake parents make with sibling rivalry is becoming the judge and jury for every conflict. Who hit first? Who's telling the truth? You turn into a detective, gathering evidence like you're auditioning for CSI Playroom Edition. But the moment you step in, you're not calming the chaos. You're promoting the courtroom drama. Your kids stop trying to solve the problem. They start trying to win the case, which means the louder, more dramatic sibling usually wins. They don't want peace. They want justice, preferably with snacks. Here's what to do instead. Refuse to take sides, even when the drama is Oscar-worthy. Try this. That sounds frustrating. What are you going to do about it? Or, I trust you two can figure it out. Then sip your tea like a wise, emotionally detached monk. Only step in if someone's in physical danger or genuinely asks for help solving the problem. This doesn't mean ignoring their conflict. It means teaching them how to handle it. Phrases like, I don't like that, I need space, or the Holy Grail. Let's take turns. Your goal isn't to be the courtroom judge. It's to retire from law entirely. And next, we'll tackle the parenting move that feels fair, but secretly turns your kids into little courtroom auditors. The fairness trap. That's not fair. Quite possibly the national anthem of every house with more than one child. So, like many loving parents, you start measuring everything like you're running a small-scale socialist economy. Same snacks, same screen time, same oxygen, if possible. But here's what's fascinating. Trying to make everything exactly equal actually makes things worse. Because now your kids aren't siblings. They're tiny accountants, tracking every crumb like it's a corporate audit. Who got more juice? Whose pancake was bigger by 3 millimeters? Who got the blue cup yesterday and again today? Real fairness doesn't mean treating kids identically. It means treating them individually. Your 5-year-old and 10-year-old, they don't need the same bedtime. One needs rest. The other just needs to stop climbing the furniture like a caffeinated goat. Your athletic kid doesn't need dance lessons. And your bookworm doesn't need football camp just to make it fair. So, what do you do instead? I love you both differently because you're different people. But I love you both completely. Simple truth. And way more powerful than measuring cookie halves with a ruler. Create connection rituals. One of the most powerful ways to reduce sibling rivalry? Make sure each child feels like they actually have you, not just a slice of you. And no, shouting, I love you both equally, while wiping jelly off the dog doesn't count. You don't need some Pinterest-perfect bonding experience. You need 5 minutes of real one-on-one time. A bedtime chat. A car ride where you're not yelling, put that down. Even something as small as, hey, want to help me stir this spaghetti? Can say, you matter. And this moment is just for you. The goal is not grand gestures. It's consistency. Because when kids feel secure in your love, they don't need to fight for scraps like raccoons under a picnic table. Let them pick the activity. Put your phone away. Look them in the eye like you're not already mentally planning dinner, laundry, and how to survive another school newsletter. Here's the magic part. When a child feels full from your connection, they don't have to steal their sibling's portion. They're not hoarding hugs, counting minutes, or diving into drama just to get noticed. They can actually celebrate each other's wins because they're not secretly terrified you've got a limited supply of love and it's about to run out like a Costco sample tray on Saturday. Quick favor before we keep going. If this is hitting home, tap that subscribe button. Apparently, 97% of people watch these videos like it's a secret snack stash. They enjoy it, but never admit it. Subscribing helps more parents find this and lets me keep making videos that hopefully save you from one more sibling meltdown this week. Already subscribed? You deserve the quiet car on every road trip. Keep watching, because up next is the part most parents skip, and it's where sibling peace actually begins. Teaching conflict resolution. Some sibling conflict is totally normal. Honestly, if your kids never argue, you might want to check if they're robots. Kids need to learn how to stand up for themselves, compromise, and survive a shared bathroom without starting World War III. The goal isn't to eliminate conflict. It's to help them learn to fight fair. So when the volume goes up and the feet start stomping, resist the urge to separate them like you're breaking up a bar fight. Instead, be the coach on the sideline. Ask questions like, okay, what's the actual problem here? Any ideas that work for both of you? Would you say that to your grandma? Teach them to say, I feel frustrated when you take my toy without asking, instead of, you're a poo-poo head and I hope your cereal gets soggy. This isn't about conflict resolution. It's emotional fluency. And if you model it well, they'll start using those same skills in school, at home, and maybe even with you, which is ironic because you might be mid-argument about who left the milk out. Handle the big emotions. Sibling rivalry isn't just noise. It's a soap opera fueled by jealousy, injustice, and someone breathing too loud. These feelings, anger, frustration, sadness, are totally normal. But when they bubble up, your kid doesn't calmly say, Mother, I'm feeling emotionally dysregulated. They scream, I hate him and I wish he lived in a different house. Don't panic. Don't launch into a speech about family love. Just breathe and try, wow, you're really mad at your sister right now. That must feel hard. Then pause. They probably weren't expecting empathy. They were expecting jail time. Help them name what they're feeling. Sounds like you're jealous. Maybe you feel left out. Not, you're being dramatic. Create safe ways to vent. Draw the angry dinosaur. Write a letter they'll never send. Whisper all your rage into a stuffed animal's ear. Because if they don't learn healthy ways to process anger, they'll just keep throwing shoes at their sibling and pretending it was an accident. So how do we move from stop fighting to actually liking each other? The next part flips competition into connection. Building sibling bond. While you're reducing the chaos, you also want to build the bond. Not just stop hitting each other, but hey, you actually like this person. Look for those rare moments when your kids aren't fighting over air molecules. Celebrate them loudly. Wow, I loved how you helped your brother with his puzzle. Translation, I loved the 4 minutes today where I wasn't a hostage negotiator. Create team missions. Let's see if you two can clean the living room together before this timer runs out. Boom. Instant bonding or instant chaos. But hey, it's a start. Tell them what their siblings said about them. Your sister said you were brave at the doctor. They'll pretend they don't care. But later, they'll casually bring it up over cereal like, I wasn't even scared when they took my blood. Just saying. The goal is to get them to stop seeing each other as enemies and more like reluctant teammates who occasionally share snacks without a fist fight. When to step in. Sometimes you do need to step in, like when things go from minor disagreement to WWE SmackDown Living Room Edition. If there's physical aggression, verbal cruelty, or full-on toy-flinging warfare, that's your cue. Time to pause the spaghetti, activate the referee whistle. Even when you intervene, don't default to punishment. Focus on teaching. Say, I can see you're both upset, but in our family, we don't throw remote controls at people's heads. Let's take a break and figure out a better way. Yes, sometimes separation is necessary, especially if someone's wielding a plastic sword like they're auditioning for a Marvel movie. But once everyone's calmed down, guide them back together. Help them understand what went wrong, how to fix it, and how to not repeat it every Thursday afternoon at exactly 5:17 p.m. And if one child consistently bullies or dominates the other, that's not typical sibling rivalry. That's a red flag in need of extra support. Sibling conflict is normal, but chairs being used as barricades and your toddler yelling, "I declare war," probably isn't. And before we wrap up, the mindset shift that changes everything. If you want your kids to be close long after they stop sharing bunk beds, don't miss this. The long game. Remember, sibling relationships are built over years, not days. Some phases will be harder than others. Young kids fight more because they're still learning emotional regulation and social skills. Teenagers might fight more because they're dealing with identity development, hormones, and the belief that no one in the family understands them except maybe the dog. But here's what matters. Do you want your kids to see each other as competitors or as allies who shared a childhood full of bad inside jokes, broken crayons, and secret bedtime giggles? Do you want family gatherings to feel like holiday joy or a low-budget courtroom drama with stuffing and side eyes? The way you handle sibling rivalry now is laying the foundation for their adult relationship. Whether it's texting each other memes at 30 or still fighting over who technically touched whose stuff first in 1998. Most siblings who fight as kids do grow close as adults, especially when parents focus on teaching relationship skills instead of just ending the fight and muttering, "Not again," under their breath. If your house has been feeling like a war zone, start with just one strategy. Maybe it's refusing to be the courtroom judge, or creating special one-on-one time that doesn't get hijacked by sibling drama in under 3 minutes. Pick one thing, stick with it for a few weeks, and watch what shifts. The goal isn't perfect harmony. It's teaching your kids that they can disagree without turning the hallway into a battlefield of unmatched socks and emotional landmines. That your love isn't a prize they have to compete for. That their siblings can be allies in life and not just someone to blame when the last cookie mysteriously disappears. If this helped you see sibling rivalry in a new light, send it to a parent who's one meltdown away from moving into the garage. Because when we change how we see sibling conflict, we finally create the peaceful, connected family we actually wanted. One where your kids can actually be friends, or at least agree not to fight in public. Let me know in the comments which strategy you're trying first, or just drop a cookie emoji if your house is that chaotic.